All right, our math warm-up today has 3 in and out tables. What I would like for you to do is take a look at each one of those, see if you can figure out what the rule would be for each one. Pause your video and come on back as soon as you are ready. So if we take a look at our first table, we have 0, 1, 2, 3 on this side, and then we go from 0 to 6 to 12 to 18. Our rule for this particular table is times 6. Did you get that one? All right, let's take a look at the second one. We have 0, 5, 10, and 15 on the n side, and we have 0, 1, 2, 3 on the outside. Our rule for this particular table is times 1/5, or we could divide by 5. Did you get that one? Okay, so let's take a look at the last one. We have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3 on our inside, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the outside. Our rule for this particular table is divide by 1/3 or times 3. How'd you do? Let's take a look at our math message. An airplane traveled 480 miles in 1 hour. If it traveled at the same speed for the entire hour, how many miles did it travel in 1 minute? Go ahead and pause your video. See if you can figure out how to answer this particular question, and come on back when you're ready. All right, so if you thought of it this way, 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. So I took 480 miles and divided it by 60, and I got 8. So 8 miles in 1 minute. Did you get the same answer? Today's lesson is rules, tables, and graphs, part 1. The reason we're doing this lesson today is we want to extend our understanding of patterns, data, and number models. And we're going to do that by using tables, rules, graphs, and larger numbers to solve real-world problems. To get started today, you need to get out your student math journal, and you're going to open that up to page 264. And we're going to take a look at problem number 1. So if you need to pause your video, go ahead and do that now. If you're ready to go, so am I. So let's take a look at the table. What does this table show here? If we look at this table, what does it show? It shows the total distance the plane traveled in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And we've got pairs of numbers here, if you remember what those are called, corresponding, right, values. So the pair of numbers means that the airplane had, like, let's say if we looked at row 4, in 4 minutes and 32, those would be the corresponding values, right? That means in 4 minutes, the plane traveled 32 miles. Okay, so what pattern do the numbers follow in the time column? If we look specifically at the time column, you might notice that we are adding 1. Okay, what pattern do the numbers follow in the distance column, which would be this? We could say that we are adding 8. Okay, and so what you're going to do is you are going to complete this table with me. And the first thing I want you to do is write the number 9 in the next row of the time column. So you're going to take your pencil and write the number 9 here. Can we use the +8 pattern and record 48 in the distance part of this table for 9 minutes? Think about that for a minute. The answer would be no, because we did not continue the +1 pattern in the time column, so we can't use the +8 pattern in the distance column. 48 miles would be the distance the plane traveled in 6 minutes, not 9. So what else could we use to help us find the distance value that goes with 9 minutes? We could look for a rule that describes the relationship between time and distance. What rule describes time and distance? The number of miles is always 8 times the number of minutes. So if we were going to summarize the rule as time and minutes, we would say times 8 equals distance in miles. So for the rule, we're going to write time in minutes times 8 equals distance in miles. And so you should be filling this in as we go here. All right, now use that rule to find the distance that the airplane traveled in 9 minutes. And we might need to go ahead and continue the 5 before we do that. So if we follow the rule that we started with, for 5, we're going to have what? 40 miles. Because we did that one in the order that they came, and then we changed it when we got to 9, don't forget. So now we're going to use the time in minutes times 8 equals the distance in miles. So that means we're going to take 9, because that's our time in that last row there, times 8, which is 72. So we should have a 72 here. Okay. So the next part of that is to create the ordered pairs. So remember, those sets of numbers, the corresponding numbers go together. So we're going to complete our ordered pairs there on letter C. So we'll have 0, 0, 1, 8, 2, 16, 3, 24, 4, 32, 5, 40, and then 9, 72. And so there you have the first part of page 264. So what you're going to do next is you're going to plot those ordered pairs on a coordinate grid on the following page in your workbook. So you'll notice here that I have a couple of different graphs. So if we take a look at the graph on the left side here, and we wanted to place the ordered pairs 0 and 0, we wouldn't have any problem doing that, right? 0 and 0 are going to be located right here. And then if I asked you to plot 1 and 8, we would go over 1, up 8, and we would place our dot here. And that's how we would plot those particular ordered pairs. Can we plot the next ordered pair at 2 and 16 when we look at that grid on the left? The answer is no, because our numbers don't go high enough on this particular grid. So in previous lessons, we've worked with coordinate grids like this one, but today we are working with larger numbers. So today we're going to use a coordinate grid that is adjusted to accommodate larger numbers. So when we look at the one here on the right, notice I have 10 all the way up to 90 on the y-axis. And on the x-axis here, we go from 1 to 10. So if we were going to plot the coordinates from our problem number 1, could we use the one on the right? And the answer is yes. So you will be plotting on a grid similar to this on page 265 in your workbook. So don't forget, when you're given the ordered pairs, you go over and then up. Let's summarize today's lesson. We can analyze patterns and rules in tables. We can create graphs to represent the data and answer questions using rules, tables, and graphs. So lots of rules, lots of tables, lots of graphing. No one can stop us now, guys. We're on a roll. See you in class.